I think that's a really good way to learn and grow your business instead of going blitz and loaning money and growth, and you're not sure about your finances, where you're bleeding because you're growing so fast, you don't have processes in place, you're churning people, you lose people, you hire people, like you're changing your clothes every day. Would it be advisable to highly leverage your business? I think this is making your business a collateral. Would it still be considered as good debt? I'll go ahead first and answer this one. Leveraging your business, not a lot of banks would allow your business to become leverage, because especially if you're starting up. They won't even lend you money. You have to be established for at least 5 years, show them your ITR, they know your bank account, so they know if you're making money or not. Before you're able to secure a loan, and it's not going to be the loan amount you want, it's going to be less than that. So it's pretty tough even loaning money from the bank when you're a startup. But if you have a big brand, for example, Ford, the logo of Ford was actually turned into a collateral by Alan Mulally, which is the CEO of Ford, the one who turned it around. And ginamit niya, like that blue logo literally was collateral. And so the bank loaned him money for that. So that's an
Mm-hmm.
example of using your business as leverage. But otherwise, if you don't have a brand that powerful, I doubt you can use it as leverage. And would it be considered a good debt? Good debt or bad debt depends on what you use the debt for, not what your collateral was. So even if you use your house as a collateral, but use it as a collateral to buy a boat, for example, a boat is, strictly speaking, if it's a boat that you're going to use for personal reasons, it's not an asset. A boat depreciates, salt water corrodes it. So that's a bad debt because you used your house as a collateral to loan for a boat. But if you're gonna use it to start
No.
building, or yeah,
Sana wag.
then that's a good debt. So yeah, your take, Erica. What's your take on this?
That in general, I don't know, I stay away from it because like parang for me it's foreign. I don't like to tackle it. Parang everything so far, like growing the business, wala, I was just funded with my own money, and from there parang we just kept on building.
Yeah.
I agree on what you said. Don't use your house. Sino na po ako? Don't use your house para bumili ng boat.
Yeah. I mean, an example of a good debt for me would be if you're gonna buy or invest in another property that you can pay. Make sure, of course, you can pay that debt. So my house, I use it as collateral to secure a loan for debt, and that's for to buy a property where I plan to build the future headquarters of SEO Hacker. It's a 600 square meter lot, which is pretty big, and it's a significant amount, and I can't buy it cash outright, but I calculated it. We can actually pay it off in a good amount of years with a good interest. And so that's a good debt because that's an investment, and it's an investment not to sell. I don't plan to sell it and flip it, but to build the future of my business, my company. So that's an example of good debt. And before I move to the next question, I do agree with you, Erica, when you said that you stay away from loans. That's being a, I would say, a conservative business person, which that's exactly the route I went. So we use our own
Mhm.
money. We call that bootstrapping. We use our own money to fund our business, to pay our expenses, and we rolled it in. We reinvested it in the business and grew it, tipid. I think that's a really good way to learn and grow your business instead of going blitz and loaning money and growth, and you're not sure about your finances, where you're bleeding because you're growing so fast, you don't have processes in place, you're churning people, you lose people, you hire people, like you're changing your clothes every day. So I don't think that is a
Yeah.
pretty good way started.
I think if you know the system and how it really works, parang, and if it's in your favor, yeah, go ahead. But like, like me, admittedly, like I don't want to go there right now.
Right, right. I think this is an interesting question. This is also from Eric. Her name's also Erica. How can I make my
Hello.
business more sustainable? I also don't know what your business is, but here's what I can say. Business becomes sustainable when cash flow is good. When revenue is greater than expenses, then you have a stable business. As long as it's that way, month on month, you have a stable business. Not and what you need to do next when you have positive cash flow month on month is to have a safety net. A safety net is 6 months or a year worth of savings matching your company's gross revenue. So for example, if you're making 1 million per month, it should be 6 to 12 million. That's your safety net. Huwag mong gagalawin yun. That's for a tough time. That's for pandemic, crisis. That's your safety net. Then it gives more security and stability to your business. That for me is would be the action steps. And we could go all the way, like insuring your business, insuring yourself, we could go all the way, but I think good cash flow, good positive cash flow, and a safety net, those two things are the most critical. I'm 19 and I already started business in different fields. For me to improve, do you think I should find a niche, or do I just simply find market gaps or try to compete in saturated markets? Ayan. I'll let you go first, Erica,
Wow.
since they're too tired of me.
Ganun ba? Hi, Nino. Wow, at 19 years old. Anong different fields? Pwede bang magtanong? Ganun, nagtanong. Oh, ano yung different fields mo? But, for me kasi, the way I approach business is I go for, people ask me, like, what business should I pursue? Usually, I tell them is, where does your passion lie at? And what's your current situation? And then find, like, where those two meet. So, like me, I like fashion and I want to work from home. I want to work from home. So parang the way for me was to go online. But like this was years ago when hindi pa masyado uso yung here in the Philippines, yung e-commerce. So, yun. So parang for me, what do you want to do and what's your current situation like?
Got it. Those are questions that you need to ask yourself. And sometimes we need to ask ourselves those questions to find the answers to some of our other questions. No? So, yeah,
True. And then you'll
that's,
just have more questions. Never ending.
yeah, that could also be the case. And that's why we're having this show. But yeah, it's a tough one. I think that going for a niche is the best way to start because you can dominate it. When you're in a market that has too many competitors, it's going to be a problem because I've met very successful businessmen who, wanted to enter an industry where it's saturated with competition. They would just say na hindi sulit. It's not worth it because there's a price war going on. People are dropping prices, profit margins disappear. It's not sustainable. But people who focus on a niche and dominate it, you build a brand for yourself, you have that demand for your brand, then you're gonna be building a much more stable business. So I think that's the way to go if you ask me this question. Oh hey, and since you're here, can you do me a favor? Can you hit on the subscribe button and hit the bell button and select all notifications so that whenever we have a new video, you're gonna be the first one to know. Until then, keep leading.
You can't just keep trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Like, if that's gone, if you had skills enough to build one thing, you could build something else. Now, we get too sentimental about certain things, and I get it. Maybe you raise your kids in that business. Maybe you raise your kids with the revenue from that business. I get it. But you got to shift. You have to shift, and, you have to pivot. Everybody used to say that word during the pandemic, in the height of it, pivoting. Nobody likes to hear it now, but it's a fact.